The Bible is a very special book cherished by millions around the world. It tells us about God and His love for us, offering guidance and wisdom. The Bible has many parts, each with its own unique stories and lessons. Genesis is the first part, setting the stage for everything that follows. It is like the first chapter of a long, intricate story that spans generations. Genesis tells us how everything began, from the cosmos to life on Earth. It tells us about God's creation, the beauty and complexity of the natural world. It tells us about the first people on Earth, Adam and Eve, and their experiences. This essay will explore the amazing stories in Genesis, delving into its profound messages. Genesis means beginning or origin, a fitting title for the first book of the Bible. The book of Genesis is the book of beginnings, laying the groundwork for all that follows. It tells us how the world began, from the creation of the universe to the formation of Earth. It tells us how humans were made, in the image of God, with a unique purpose. It tells us about the first family, their joys, struggles, and the lessons they learned. We learn about God's power and love in Genesis, and how it shapes our understanding of the world. The stories in Genesis are important, offering timeless truths and moral guidance. They tell us about God's plan for the world, and our place within it. They teach us about good and evil, right and wrong, and the choices we must make. They help us understand our place in God's creation, and our relationship with Him. Genesis lays the foundation for the entire Bible, introducing themes and stories that resonate throughout. In the beginning there was nothing, there was only God. Then God spoke and there was light. God created the heavens and the earth. He created everything in 6 days. On the seventh day He rested. God created light and darkness. He separated the water from the sky. He made the land and the plants. God created the sun, moon, and stars. He filled the sea with fish and the sky with birds. God made all kinds of animals. Finally, God created humans. God created humans in His image. He made them special. He gave them the ability to think, feel, and love. He gave them dominion over the earth. God called the first man Adam. He created a woman from Adam's rib and called her Eve. God planted a beautiful garden for Adam and Eve, a sanctuary filled with life and beauty. It was called the Garden of Eden. It was a paradise, a place where everything was perfect and harmonious. There were trees with delicious fruit, offering a bounty of nourishment and delight. A river flowed through the garden, providing life and sustenance to all the plants and creatures. Adam and Eve lived in peace and harmony with God, enjoying the beauty and tranquility of their surroundings. God gave Adam and Eve only one rule, a simple command to test their obedience and trust. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a tree that stood in the midst of the garden. A serpent, cunning and deceitful, tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. The serpent told Eve that the fruit would make her wise like God, promising knowledge and power. Eve gave in to temptation and ate the fruit, unable to resist the allure of wisdom. She also gave some to Adam, and he ate it too, joining her in disobedience. When Adam and Eve disobeyed God, they sinned, and their eyes were opened to their wrongdoing. Sin brought pain and suffering into the world, altering the perfect harmony of the garden. God punished Adam and Eve for their sin, expressing His disappointment and anger. He banished them from the Garden of Eden, closing the gates to their once perfect home. Section 4. A world washed clean. The world became filled with wickedness. God was saddened by the evil in people's hearts. He decided to send a great flood to destroy the world. However, there was one righteous man named Noah. God told Noah to build an ark. Noah built the ark as God commanded. He brought his family and 2 of every kind of animal onto the ark. The flood came and covered the entire earth. Everything outside the ark was destroyed. After many days, the rain stopped. The floodwaters receded. The ark came to rest on a mountain. Noah and his family came out of the ark. They thanked God for saving them. God made a covenant with Noah. He promised never to destroy the earth with a flood again. Section 5. A Tower of Pride. After the flood, Noah's descendants multiplied and spread across the earth, filling it with their families and communities. They came to a plain in the land of Shinar, a fertile and expansive region that seemed perfect for settling. They decided to build a great city and a tower that reached to the heavens, a monument to their unity and ambition. They wanted to make a name for themselves, to be remembered and admired by future generations. God saw their pride and arrogance. their desire to elevate themselves above all others. He knew that their hearts were turning away from him, filled with self-importance and disobedience. To humble them, God confused their languages so that they could no longer understand each other, causing great chaos. As a result, the people were scattered across the earth, each group moving in different directions. They were unable to finish building their tower, leaving it as an unfinished monument to their failed ambition. The story of the Tower of Babel teaches us about the dangers of pride and disobedience, and the consequences that follow. It shows us that God opposes those who exalt themselves, reminding us to remain humble. It also explains why there are so many different languages in the world, a testament to the diversity of humanity. The book of Genesis is full of amazing stories. It tells us about God's power, love, and judgment. It teaches us about the consequences of sin and the importance of obedience. Genesis lays the foundation for the entire Bible. It is a book that continues to inspire and challenge us today.